God wants all people to be saved and to come to a knowledge of the truth. 1 Timothy 2:4. But small is the gate and narrow the road that leads to life, and only a few are finding it. Matthew 7:14. And anyone whose name was not found in the book of life was thrown into the lake of fire. Revelation 20, verse 15. In Luke chapter 11, Jesus tells us to pray for God's will to be done on earth as it is in heaven. It seems from these passages and more that God's will is not always done on earth as it is in heaven. God's will is violated every day, in many ways, by those who keep choosing to live in darkness. 2 Peter 3:9. The often misquoted chapter of Romans 13 explains that anyone whom God has not established as one of his leaders to uphold justice cannot be acknowledged as the rightful authority, no matter how many titles or powers they try to give themselves. In the book of Hosea, chapter 8, verse 4, God says, "They elect leaders that I have not appointed. They set up government officials that I have not chosen." Not all leaders are set in place by God. Some people acquire all kinds of leadership positions without God's permission or authority. If God controlled people and made them always do what is right, made them all accept Jesus' salvation, then God would be controlling. And we know from 1 John that God is love, and love is not controlling. Real relationship requires the risk of rejection, even with God. The number one atheist argument, questioning how there could be a loving and powerful God, still resonates in the hearts and minds of many believers. It has for a long time. Why is there suffering in the world? And especially, why is there suffering for those who follow God? Did God cause this mess? Or did we? Who's in charge around here? God gave the world into the hands of humanity. We are the gatekeepers. We decide how much light and how much darkness comes through us into the world. We decide whether to listen to the mind-altering voice of God, changing us from the inside out, becoming his conduit for heaven to come to earth. Or we decide to listen to the mind-altering voice of the devil, becoming a conduit for more of the will of hell to come to earth. Will in Greek is thelema. It means good pleasure or desire. We see that God desires good for all people, and yet because he loves us and desires a real relationship, and he is love and cannot violate his own nature, he will not force himself upon us. So he pursues us. He woos our hearts and draws us closer, calls for our attention. It is only when we turn away from God that we cause shadow and darkness, standing against the light that He wants to pour out on all. And according to what humanity decides, according to whom we listen, so goes the world. As goes humanity, so goes the universe. All of physical creation waits in eager anticipation to be set free by the maturing children of God, who will finally become fully convinced of God's will to heal all and to give nature permission to be fully delivered and restored. Romans chapter 8, verses 19 through 22.